Howdy, y'all. My topic is the boiling river in the Peruvian rainforest, and my research question is why does the river boil? And honestly, I picked this topic because I thought it was cool that a river was hot enough to actually kill animals alive. Before I got into too much of the scientific stuff, I wanted to give y'all a little bit of background. So, the boiling river is actually from a Peruvian legend about a lost city of gold in the Amazon. It was this idea that the river was one of the obstacles to get to the lost city. But the fact is that this river is real, and natives around the area know about it and been using it in their daily lives. So the indigenous name for this river is Shanae Timpasca, which means boiled with the heat of the sun. Just to give you an idea of like how hot it is, they compare it to the sun. So that's pretty intense. So the river itself is 5.5 miles long, and during this dry season, it's hot enough to boil animals alive. So that's where I got the title of this PowerPoint from. The Hungry River, because anything falls into it, I'm sorry, it's dead, it's gone, it's going to be eaten, in a sense. So where is this river? It's in the central Peruvian Amazon in the middle of the low jungle. And the last thing I wanted to mention is this guy named Andres Russo. He's a scientist who's originally Peruvian, but now lives in the US, but he's heard all these legends about this river growing up from his family and his friends and his grandparents and all these stories. So he went out and explored and found amazing stuff about this river and is currently doing more and more research on it. So I'm going to cite a lot of his research in my presentation. Hey guys, now I'm going to get more into the scientific side to explain this all to you. So hot rivers like the boiling river do exist throughout the world, but the problem is they're usually tied back to volcanic activity. But in this area of Peru, the nearest volcanic activity is 430 miles away. So this theory doesn't fit with this situation. So that's why Andreas and other scientists have been looking into different explanations for this boiling water. So one explanation that they're on right now that seems to be fitting, that they're still doing research into, but it best explains what's happening in this area, is the fault spread hot springs and the geothermal gradient. So to explain what the geothermal gradient is, that's pretty much just the increasing heat of the earth as you go deeper into it. So if you look at the picture on the bottom left of your screen, it's going to show how as you go into the upper mantle, lower mantle, outer core, inner core, it heats up more and more. So this is important because as it rains or water flows in this area of Peru, it seeps into the ground. And as it seeps into the ground through these faults and through different cracks, it gets heated up. And then once it's hot enough, it rises up again through these fault spread hot springs. And these fault spread hot springs lead to the river. So this hot water from the core and from the mantle is making its way back up into the surface. And this is continually happening. So the water is always hot and it's always like increasing. So this is pretty much a large hydrothermal system. As the water heats itself up, goes to the surface and cools, and then more water goes down, heats up again in the earth and goes to the surface and cools through these fault spreads. So because of this is causing lots of thermal pools and waterfalls filled with boiling hot water across this river. And while not all areas of the river are hot because of where the faults and hot springs are, there are patches where it's insanely hot, and then it might cool down, then it's hot again, but it's just how the river works. And on average, the river is about 86 degrees Celsius, or that's 168 degrees Fahrenheit, which is also insanely hot. And scientists like Andreas have come to these conclusions by testing the water in this river to see where it comes from, where it's been, and also studying the surrounding ecosystems. So, in conclusion, the boiling river is caused by the hydrothermal systems of the combination of the fault-spreading hot springs and the high geothermal gradient of the area. So there is still research being done by Andreas and other scientists to further pinpoint the cause and to get more concrete data to support this theory. As time goes on, they'll have more data. But also the river is an amazing earth feature because of its importance to the natives and a part of their culture and traditions, and also its value to the scientific community. So to close off, I found this one really cool fact. Andreas was talking in a TED Talk about how there's undiscovered plants and species in this river that no one's seen before. So this is such a great thing for the scientific community. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed.